Hello.
Getting ready for the day?
Yes, Friday.
Yes, a great day. I tell you, lots to talk about on the show today. I'm telling you, I have some very nice people from Equity. In fact, I met a choir. I met some Wachesela who was singing like Osi Jama. Yeah, just giving fans. Yeah, I'll bring all that to you today.
Thank you. You must deliver the song.
But it's one of the very interesting races. If you ask me to choose 10 races to look out for in this 2020 election, Akwetia will be among the top 10.
Top 5.
Well, 10 for me. 5 is too pushing it a bit. Yeah, but top 10 there, they are comfortably there. Very interesting constituency. So we have some for you.
Did you see any goon posters whilst you were there?
Look, I even saw Asidu Walker. I said, hey, Charlie, people have invested in the election. I tell you, Charlie, it's very serious. Anyway, so we'll do the newspaper review. We'll do business news. We'll do the business edition. When we do the finish, I will do sports, and then we'll talk about yesterday. Dr. Baumia was talking. There's Mahama. There's all kinds of things happening. We'll do our best in the time allotted. Let's start with Godfred.
Front page of the Daily Graphic, Bernard. Exciting times ahead. Economy in full flight, says Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, the Vice President. Also on the front page, Akufo-Addo to win first round, projected to poll 51% to NDC's 40%, says a survey. I'll give you details. But NDC dismisses findings.
The Ghanaian Times says security agencies march for peace. IGP, CDS warn gate crashes. Ignore Mahama. Ghanaians already know who brought FSHS, Baumia, but NDC insists Mahama introduced it, and Pokwase Interchange first phase opens to traffic.
Front page of the Daily Statesman newspaper, free SHS to decide 2020 election. University of Ghana, Benefson predicts victory for Akufo-Addo. IMF did the rescue mission after your mismanagement. Baumia poo-poos Mahama's campaign mantra. And Queen Mother in tears as a subordinate number 3 gets electricity after 508 years.
The Chronicle says Akufo-Addo will beat Mahama again. UG polls. You lived and breathed bad economy under NDC. Baumia reminds Ghanaians. We will protect nationals, not criminals. CDS. Government puts 1.5 million CD seed money into graduate research trust fund, and God has sealed Nane's victory. That's according to Kate Jemfoa.
Front page of the Daily Guide newspaper. Don't be deceived. NDC cannot create jobs, according to Samira Baumia, wife of the Vice President. 8 die in mining pit. Very sad story. The survey from the University of Ghana's Political Science Department is also here.
The New Weekend Crusading Guide says, ignore desperate Mahama. Ghanaians already know who brought free SHS, Baumia. December 7 election, victory beckons Nanado as UG polls predict 51.7% win. 444 disqualified voters in Sabzugu to vote, court rules, and establish military base in Gomwa East. Chief appeals to Akufo-Addo over worsening crime situation.
Front page of the Finder newspaper. We have delivered. Retain NPP on December 7. Dr. Baumia touts government achievements. President Akufo-Addo asked Central Region to retain him to do more.
The Informer says election 2020 polls put Akufo-Addo in comfortable lead, but over 3% of voters undecided. Don't interfere with electoral processes, EC tells observers. I will build you ultra-modern market complex. Mahama raps Boku residents. And towards a credible and peaceful election, clergy chief Imam Yana rally support for EC, and Mpa family wants encroachers.
Let me end. Let me end with the Herald newspaper. NCA reacts to jamming networks, but telcos yet to speak. University of Ghana 2020 election poll cooked for NPP. Dossier from Political Science Department reveals massive confusion. Untouchable army chief stirs soldiers' anger, and Kwame Nkrumah's picture with youngster set to be Akufo-Addo finally corrected.
Okay, and on the front page of the BNFT, it says excess power, unutilized gas costs $1.2 billion yearly. SEC begins settlement of partial bailout package, improved insurance sector to boost sector confidence, drive growth. That's Olad GCO. And Omnifed CEO is 2020 Ghana Cocoa Awards Entrepreneur of the Year.
Let's go online. CitiNewsroom.com. Ghana becoming most digitized economy in Africa, according to Baumia. He also says we've abolished 15 taxes in our first term. Still on that website, free SHS debate between MPP and DC misplaced, according to iFirst. NDC tax Akufo-Addo, most corrupt leader in Ghana's history, lists top 10 scandals. And CPP's electric shock campaign slogan, not a gimmick, Ivor Kobna Green Street. And then a couple more here. Debt owed Ghana Gas nears $1 billion, according to PIAC report. And 2 NDC supporters die in car crash at Banda. If you go to Citi Business News, the lead story is the PIAC one. Debt owed Ghana Gas nears $1 billion. Also, AGI calls for establishment of industrial bank, and deposits of commercial banks growing steadily despite impact of COVID-19. If you go to myjoyonline.com, are they confused or they think we have short memories? Baumia on free SHS debate. Also, he says we've created over 2 million jobs in the formal sector. Meanwhile, NDC demands credit for implementing free SHS, and Ghana going cashless is not limited to smartphone users. This is Archie Hesse. Star News, Akufo-Addo has created 2 million jobs in formal sector. Baumia. Also, December Post, NDC will win majority in parliament, done deal, according to Mahama. Meanwhile, reject Ghana's Ijapa deal, Transparency International to UK authorities. And MPP supporter pulls gun on Upper Manya MP. This is on Star News. Ghana News Agency is talking. GNA builds capacity for election coverage. NDC advised EC to be diligent. And CAF president to appeal to CAS over 5-year FIFA ban. Those are the stories. If you go to BBC, Trump signals he is prepared to leave the White House after a long time. Meanwhile, huge crowds bid farewell to Maradona. They describe him as a genius. This is coming in from Argentina.
On the front page of L'Equipe,
the French sports paper.
The day after Maradona died, the front page says, Dieu est mort. God is dead.
Wow.
And there's a nice picture of Maradona in there.
That's serious.
That's crazy. All right. I think we can start with some election stories.
Baumia
is there. Baumia captured the airwaves last night for another of his presentations, and he said that he laughed off claims by former President John Mahama that he introduced free senior high school education. Responding to a question during his A Case for 4 More Years to Do More For You presentation last night, Dr. Baumia said there was no debate about who implemented free SHS because Ghanaians knew the answer. And he said, quote, "It is really laughable for the former president to claim that he introduced free SHS. There's no argument about this because Ghanaians know who implemented free SHS and they will ignore desperate Mahama," end quote. But the NDC has clapped back. They insist that former President Mahama introduced it. Now that story is also on page 13 of the Ghanaian Times, and it says the opposition NDC says President Akufo-Addo lacks integrity to be entrusted with Ghana's destiny for the next 4 years. According to the party, the claim by President Akufo-Addo that he introduced the free SHS policy when the reverse was the case makes him unfit to occupy the high office of the land. Now, the Ghanaian Times adds, information, however, available to the Ghanaian Times indicate that the John Mahama-led administration introduced the policy in 2015-2016 academic year to cover about 360,000 day students. This was corroborated by the Education Minister, Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh, when he delivered a statement on education on the floor of Parliament on the 11th of August 2020. Now, in that said statement, Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh said the NDC left arrears of 30 million Ghana cedis when they, of course, under the progressively free SHS policy touted by the NDC.
Before I come back to other stories from yesterday's event, free SHS debate between NDC and MPP misplaced, according to iFirst, which is the Institute for Education Studies. They've described as misplaced the ongoing debate about who introduced free SHS policy. Now, Executive Director of the Institute, Peter Anti, in a Citi News interview, says the fundamental question that ought to be answered by the candidate is what constitutes free SHS. And he says the debate is misplaced, and then he goes on to give some issues. Now, still on yesterday's speech, Baumia says Ghana is becoming Africa's most digitized economy, and he was basically talking about some of the digital innovations they put in place. He said government's ability to register more than half of the population for the national ID card, digitizing the process for acquiring driver's license and passports, a few of the many digitization interventions within the year. And then he also says we are giving bailout package to the customers of remaining fund management companies on compassionate grounds. So the vice president says government decided to offer bailout packages for the customers of fund management companies currently in court on compassionate grounds. Now government is offering up to 50,000 cedis to customers of Black Shield and other fund management companies litigating the revocation of their licenses. Speaking on government's nation-building updates on Thursday, Dr. Bawumia said, quote, "We've cleaned up the mess in the financial sector that we inherited. We took decisive decisions to avoid the collapse of the financial sector. In addition to this, government on, quote, compassionate grounds, unquote, has decided to pay up to 50,000 cedis to all customers of the defunct companies." Godfrey, there's still more politics around the
Yes,
papers.
I am going to the survey conducted by the Political Science Department. That story is on page 16 and 20, pages 16 and 21 of the Daily Graphic. Akufo-Addo to win first round. Pre-election polls conducted by the Political Science Department of the University of Ghana, sorry, Lagos, have projected the president, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, will win the December 7 presidential election in the first round. According to the findings, while 51% of respondents said they would vote for the incumbent president, 40% said they would vote for the NDC candidate, Mr. John Dramani Mahama. The lead researcher, Mr. Ketche Duku Frimpong, a senior lecturer at the department who presented the findings of the survey in Accra yesterday, said the exercise was carried out between November 12 and November 22 this year. Now, on other aspects of the survey, it showed that although the management of COVID-19 pandemic has significant bearing on election results in other jurisdictions such as the USA, the situation per the outcome of the research was not likely to be the same in Ghana. Now, it also says that in the parliamentary election, Mr. Frimpong said 9 out of every 10 respondents said they would vote for either an NPP or an NDC candidate.
So which means they're expecting the two parties to get over 90%, as they've always done.
Yes, but what was interesting for me from the survey was how low corruption was on the minds of people and the banking restructure.
It depends on the time the questions were asked, because corruption became an issue again not too long ago. Speaking of December polls, there's a story on Star News where Mahama says NDC will win majority in parliament. It's a done deal. This is Star News lead story. Former President Mahama is convinced NDC will win the December 7 polls. According to him, the party's internal polls suggest that they've already secured parliament with a majority of the 275 votes. Speaking in the northern region, where he's currently campaigning, the NDC flag bearer said Ghanaians have tried his government and that of Akufo-Addo and can make a better judgment. Then, of course, the story then gives you the Political Science Department's poll, which then says NPP will win first round 51%.
Now, let me also wrap up the election side with the big match that happened yesterday. Soldiers, police serve notice. That's on page 6 of the Daily Guide. And there's a response that's in the Herald I'll also give you. The Ghana Armed Forces and the Ghana Police Service have jointly declared that they will not allow any private security arrangement during the December general elections. While the Chief of the Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Obed Boamakwas, has said they were going to nip in the bud any miscreants who want to disrupt the elections. The Inspector General of Police, James Opomboenu, who is also the chairman of the Election Security Task Force, said we are not going to stand for impersonation of security officers during the elections. Now, if you go to the Herald newspaper, Bernard, there's a response from former President John Dramani Mahama there
on the security.
Yes, on the security issues, and that's on page 6. Mahama, shocked about fantastically outrageous number of flashpoints, says it's like we are going to war. The flag bearer of the opposition NDC in the December 7 poll, John Dramani Mahama, has expressed concern over the fantastically outrageous number of flashpoints identified by the police administration ahead of the general election in December. Quote, "But if you look at these 4,000 and something flashpoints, it's like we are going to war. I mean, on what basis are they identifying them as flashpoints? What is the threat, and what is the threat level for each particular flashpoint? What is likely to happen for them to say that those are flashpoints? No explanation."
Now let's move out of politics, and then I will come to some business stories.
Yes, let's do some crime-related stories. This is page 3 of the Ghanaian Times. 3 granted 1.6 million cedi bail for allegedly conspiring to steal gold.
Oh Lord!
And there's another story that says 4 in trouble for stealing excavator parts. But let's deal with the gold story. It says 3 persons, including a Burkinabe, were yesterday granted 1.6 million cedi bail for allegedly conspiring to steal 100 kilograms of gold valued at $5.8 million US. Per the bail condition, each of them is to produce 2 sureties whose net salary should not be less than 1,000 cedis. Says Owusu Bashiru Pafatnam, the Burkinabe, and Abubakar Sidi, currently at large, will appear again on December 7. Now, the court heard that Sadiq, who was an employee of Kobna, conspired with Owusu and Pafatnam to steal 100 kilograms of gold and subsequently caused a company called Italte Ghana Limited to ship 5 kilograms of gold valued at 1.595 million cedis to Dubai in the UAE.
Still on crime?
Well, and it says 4 in trouble for stealing excavator parts.
Charlie.
Now, 4 persons have been granted bail to the sum of 5,000 cedis each with 2 sureties each by the Enchi District Magistrate Court for allegedly stealing excavator parts valued at 20,000 cedis. Kofi Ban, a small-scale miner, Kwame Prince, a farmer, Kwame Amwa, a mason, and Ibrahim Mohammed, a scrap dealer, were all residents of Enchi in the Owin municipality. They pleaded not guilty to the charges of conspiracy to commit crime, stealing, and dishonestly receiving, and are expected to reappear before the court on December 4.
Let me take you to Citi Business News quickly for a story that's really shocking. Debt owed Ghana Gas nears $1 billion, according to the PIAC report. This story is by Delali at Dogla Bessa. CitiBusinessNews.com says the cumulative indebtedness of the Ghana National Gas Company is almost $1 billion, according to the Public Interest and Accountability Committee have here report for 2020. PIAC has warned that the debt, which is currently $942 million, has reached an unsustainable level. The committee noted that companies Ghana Gas provides gas to have failed to settle their debts, hence the huge amount. Now, Ghana Gas is the nation's premier midstream gas business company that owns and operates infrastructure required for the gathering, transporting, and marketing of natural gas resources in Ghana. The company has the responsibility to build, own, and operate natural gas infrastructure required for gathering, processing, transportation, and marketing of natural gas and natural gas liquids. Now, GNGC currently supplies gas to VRA and other commercial institutions for power generation and industrial use. Now, the report quotes cumulative indebtedness to Ghana Gas continued to increase, totaling an amount of $942,260,510 at the end of January to June 2020. The report says Ghana Gas has been unable to honor its financial obligations to Ghana National Petroleum Commission due to the debts. And then it gives some background. This is really serious.
Yeah. Well, also very sad story, but a tragedy struck yesterday. 8 died in mining pit.
Yeah,
Page
Central
6
Region.
of the Daily Guide story by Linda Tenya Aite says that 8 people were reportedly killed on Wednesday when a disused gold mining pit collapsed in the Central Region town of Ayamfuri. Deputy Police Public Relations Officer of the Central Region, Sergeant Evan Safia, said the ground caved in around 7 p.m. at the gold mining site said to be popular with illegal miners. According to him, rescuers removed 8 bodies of male adults between the ages of 24 and 35 4 hours after the collapse of the pit, which is popularly known as Phase 4, located at the outskirts of Ayamfuri.
Nathan, let's come back to the Chronicle and other papers.
Well, there's a feature on the Chronicle on page 14 titled Housing and the Ghanaian Economy, some critical analysis. And I think that the people should just have a look at that. I think it's put together by Kortsin Kwesi Ayuakwa from Canada. He put together that feature.
There's also a feature of some kind. It's an article actually, but it's presented as a story. Reject Ghana's Ejapa deal. Transparency International to UK authorities. It's on Star FM Online, and it's really culled from a Transparency International report on their views about the Ejapa deal. And basically, they're saying Ghana's parliament should overturn the risky Ejapa gold royalties deal that will sell most of Ghana's future gold royalties to a Jersey-based company. Local civil society group said on November 11. An alliance of 25 organizations, including Ghana Integrity Initiative, Transparency International's local chapter, called on Parliament to roll back the transaction, and they give other reasons in that article.
If you go to page 3 of the New Weekend Crusading Guide, Gomoa East and the Manhene of Gomoa Achampem, Obrefo Hinako Aho and Kobia II, has made an appeal to the president to assist the Buduburam community deal with their worsening security situation. Now, according to him, the rate of crime and cases of murder in the Gomoa East constituency suggests to him that the police alone cannot deal with the situation. He therefore asked that some form of military presence be established in the constituency to support the efforts of the police to arrest the security challenges in the community. Now, he said this when the president addressed a Deba of chiefs and people of Buduburam held in honor.
Gomoa East is among the top 3 fastest growing constituencies in Ghana. Has places like Gomoa, Budumburam, Nyanyano, Gomoa, Akotse. Very interesting story there. Now let me do a quick one. CPP says the electric shock campaign slogan is not a gimmick. This is from yesterday's interview with Ivor Komna Green Street. Flag bearer of the Convention People's Party, Ivor Komna Green Street, says the electric shock slogan that the party has adopted for the December 7 election is not a gimmick. According to him, unless voters give the NDC and MPP an electric shock by voting the CPP, things in the country will continue to be the same.
Let me take you to a brochure.
Yes, sir.
Page 4 of the Daily Graphic. U.S. Supreme Court overturns limits on congregation.
Okay.
The U.S. Supreme Court has temporarily blocked New York from enforcing attendance limits at places of worship in areas hit hard by coronavirus. In a 5-4 vote, the court ruled that the state's congregational cap violated rights to religious freedom. Also, preliminary election results have handed victory to President Roch Kabore in Burkina Faso.
Final couple of stories. Trump signals he is prepared to leave the White House. This is from BBC. Donald Trump has said he will leave the White House if Joe Biden is formally confirmed as the next U.S. president by the Electoral College. The president has refused to accept defeat in the November 3 vote and told reporters on Thursday it would be hard to concede. He also once again repeated unsubstantiated claims of voter fraud. Then the other story I want to end with: Diego Maradona, footballer laid to rest as Argentina grieves. This is football legend Diego Armando Maradona has been buried in a private ceremony. So it's just 3 days. They didn't even wait for 2 weeks of all those things. And a private ceremony after a day of emotional scenes in Argentina capital Buenos Aires. Only 24 relatives and close friends attended the funeral ceremony on Thursday. But earlier, huge crowds turned out to pay their respects, with many weeping, blowing kisses, and praying as they filed past his coffin. Maradona died of a heart attack, aged 60. It triggered mourning around the world, but nowhere was it felt more fiercely than in a country that saw him as a national hero.
Charlie, some of the images were incredible. The photos of the funeral, Charlie.
No, Maradona was a legend. That one, that you can't argue with it. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you, Godfred. Coming up next is the Citi Business News. Stay with us.
On every street, in every town, and all across Ghana,